Ooh. This is too advanced. What the hell? Ooh. Oh my goodness. This is how far technology has come. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do. Let me talk about it, man. We break down scary and creepy videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG videos, Facebook, anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank you guys, man, who continuously shows up to the channel each and every single day. Watch the video entirely, man. Comment it down below and hitting that thumbs up button, man. It really helps us push us into the algorithm, man, so more people can see the content. Found this video for you guys today, seekers. Let's do what we do best, man. You guys stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
This is the scariest story about the lunch lady. There was a lunch lady named Judy, and everybody in school loved her. But they loved her food even more. Every single day, they would rush to the lunchroom just to eat her delicious food. But one day, a boy in 7th grade noticed something strange. In the back of the kitchen, he saw a mysterious door he'd never seen before. And he's been buying lunch for a year straight. He then went to the principal's office and told him what he saw. The principal then made his way down to the lunchroom and asked Judy about the door. She played dumb for a little bit, but eventually showed him. And what he saw inside made him freeze in horror. Inside were multiple children's dead bodies, completely cut up and strung up on the wall. Judy then looked at the principal with a smile on her face and said, "How do you think my food tastes so good? This is the reason why." Judy was arrested and fired, and is now serving 105 years in prison. But the crazy part is, how did this school allow a lunch lady to kill students and then sell their meat as lunch food?
Here are some of the
Stay away
most
from school
shocking
lunch.
deathbed confessions ever that'll send shivers down your spine. In 1987, a woman named Alice Mock was on her deathbed when she confessed something to her neighbor that was truly messed up. Back in 1975, Alice accused a black man named Wayman Camille Jr. of breaking into her apartment, robbing her, and raping her. After Alice told this to police, Camille was arrested and sentenced to 15 years in prison, even though there was no evidence against him. But when Alice was on her deathbed, she admitted that she had actually invited Camille into her apartment and actually robbed him when he was sleeping. And she only made up this lie because she feared she would get evicted if her landlord learned she had invited a black man into her apartment. And she also didn't want Camille to know that she had taken money from him. After Alice's confession, Camille was finally released after being wrongfully imprisoned for 12 years.
Here is today's
You need that
disturbing
more money.
fact. Studies suggest your brain doesn't necessarily stop all of its activity the moment you are clinically dead, as was the case with one patient where up to 30 minutes of brain activity was recorded after death.
30?
You might literally hear yourself declared dead.
That's scary to think about, seekers, man. Imagine you just laying on a hospital bed, bro, and you just noticing everything around you, but you can't even do nothing. You can't even move. Man, we've heard, well, it's these clips we've seen together, man. We heard some bizarre stories about like how people, when they, when they go on and they pass away, they can still hear things around them. They're still aware because their brain, like I said, it still has the activity. But 30 minutes. That has to be a record, right?
Crazy things happening in the world right now that you probably didn't know about. There were computers in ancient Greece. Archaeologists just found a computer that's over 2,000 years old, which makes you wonder what else they had back in the day that we don't even know about. Next, a mysterious neurological illness was found in Canada, and it's been affecting a growing number of young people. The symptoms include rapid weight loss, insomnia, hallucinations, and difficulty thinking. Also, scientists in Japan created the first ever robot tail. It's made to help people with balance issues as it changes your center of gravity. But that's not all, because China created an artificial sun, and it's 5 times hotter than the real sun. It's said that this nuclear fusion reactor could be the next step towards limitless clean energy. Follow for more.
That sounds something like straight after that Spider-Man 2 freaking Dr. Octopus making that freaking fake sun, bro. Out of the tritium, man, it sounds just like that machine. What the hell are we doing, man? I don't like that freaking road we're going down, man. Making fake suns. That's how stuff gets started, Seekers. We want real, not artificial.
Here are some of the worst things ever found on the dark web, part 1. This is why you should never send nudes. This is the story of Pink Meth. Despite the name, the website Pink Meth had nothing to do with drugs. Pink Meth was a market mainly for men where they would sell nude photos of their exes for a hefty amount of money. But that's not all. Pink Meth would then post these photos alongside the women's names, home addresses, phone numbers, and any other information the operators could dig up. Then a ransom on the content was delivered to the victim. They would tell all the females, pay up to have the photo removed or let the whole of the dark web have access to your personal information, including your nude photos. So never, ever send nudes. Pretty cool.
I didn't need that to tell me. Now I would never do that. That ain't
Sad
me.
things you never noticed in Spider-Man No Way Home. In this scene, Tom's Peter doesn't mention Osborn's cure and puts it to the side. Because he doesn't want to cure him. He wants to kill him for what he did to Aunt May. When he slams it on the table, Toby immediately notices and says this.
Gotta cure all of them. Right?
Right.
That's what we do.
You can see the conflict in Tom in this scene. And this is when Toby realized he had to keep an eye on Tom whenever Osborn showed up.
Whoa. I didn't even notice that, and I saw the movie.
Crazy
Small
mind-blowing
details.
facts you should know about. Overprotective parents raise the best liars. 91% of people aren't friends with people they once called their best friends. Crying is how your body responds when your mouth can't explain the pain you're feeling. Your mind can sense someone staring at you even when you're asleep. When a person dies, they have 7 minutes of brain activity left. It's the mind playing all the memories of the person in dream sequence. Listening to sad songs actually creates positive emotions. Every 10 years you become a new person. Our desires and needs changes every 10 years. You will rarely die in your dreams. If you do, then you have started something new in life. Trouble sleeping at night for no reason. It's because you're actually alive in someone else's dream.
Life flash before your eyes. Maybe that's where the brain activity
Weird
comes
ass
from.
facts that I know for some reason. Most Koreans have a genetic mutation called ABCC11, which makes their sweat odorless. If you ate a polar bear's liver, you would literally die because there's way too much vitamin A for a human to handle. If you ever find yourself seeing an anteater doing this silly T-pose, get the fuck away, because that is their way of warning you that they're about to claw your eyes out. On average, around 2,195 children die from diarrhea every single day. That is more than AIDS, measles, and malaria combined. Around 95% of whale semen is dumped into the ocean during mating season. You actually have a lot more in common with gorillas than you think. For instance, the average length of a gorilla's schlong is 2 inches.
He just try to cook everybody, bro.
This guy
We ain't going
is
out like
shattering
that, man.
glass everywhere, and at first you may think he's doing it because he hasn't gotten paid, but he's actually about to make epoxy floors made with broken glass. So he needs to make sure the glass is broken down properly before starting the process. If you want to see the result, subscribe.
Here are the most unusual facts
Okay.
about our human bodies. Just like your vision is filtering out your nose right now, your brain also blocks the feeling of your organs shifting inside of you. Now, if you're ever feeling lonely, you should know that our bodies carry 2 to 5 pounds of built-in company like mites, fungus, and bacteria. No matter how hard you try, you can only use about 60% of your full strength. And this actually protects you, because if you could use 100%, you'd end up tearing your own muscles or breaking your own bones. So if someone lifts a car or shows superhuman strength in a dire situation, it's their brain overriding this rule for survival. Follow from
That's like the stories you be hearing about, like when you get that rush of adrenaline and you become like 10 times stronger. It's just like you get a burst of strength out of nowhere. But I guess it's to
Illegal
protect
things
us.
you should never do in different countries, part 3. Russia owning lacy underwear. China reincarnating without government permission. Bolivia, La Paz, women having a second glass of wine. Jamaica wearing any kind of camouflage. Malawi, farting in public. Videos that seem innocent but have
Crazy
a terrifying
laws.
backstory, part 4. This video shows comic magician Tommy Cooper having a heart attack on live TV. His audience, along with the assistant, thought it was all part of the show, so they laughed along while he died on stage. This video shows a Russian influencer's birthday party where she decided to throw dry ice into her swimming pool for the visual effect. Sadly, 3 people died due to carbon dioxide poisoning. The following video is what happens when you take 2 AI clever bots and hook them up to one another to have a conversation. It's funny at first, but it soon becomes quite disturbing.
Hi, how are you? Great, you? I'm okay. That's good. Are you good? Do you believe in God? Yes, I do. So you're Christian? No, I am not. Aren't you say you were not helpful, therefore you're a meaning? How you say idiot? That does not make sense. Don't you want to have a body?
What the hell? Don't connect those AIs. They're getting too smart.
You didn't know.
Crazy.
The last one will shock you. In the 90s, we were taught to use plastic instead of paper to save the rainforest from deforestation. Now we use paper instead of plastic to save the ocean from pollution. Every time you blink, someone dies. Now you can check if your phone activity is being monitored. Just click on Share. Slide to the side, then select More. If any unknown app appears before your contacts, you should delete it immediately. When you are exhausted and go to bed, your body shuts down faster than usual. That jerk that your body makes is a signal from your brain to make sure you are not dying. There is no single comment under this video with 0 likes. This is Venus 700 million years ago. It's believed to have been exactly like the Earth. Pet food companies have well-paid people on their staff to taste test their products. If you comment, hee, you will unlock this awesome new secret TikTok emoji. Future history books will have screenshots of important tweets and posts in them. If you like and follow me, you will know facts most people don't. Blue whale isn't only the largest animal in the world currently, it's also the largest animal that has ever lived in the history of the Earth, including all dinosaurs.
Really? You believe that? Giants in the world? Well, those could just be edits. I don't know about that one, Seekers. What do you think? Y'all believe in giants? Seen a couple of those clips where somebody broke those down of why it wasn't true, so I have to go with them.
This incestuous family took the lives of over 1,000 people. This is the true story of Wrong Turn. In the 16th century, a man named Sawney Bean decided to run away with his girlfriend to the shores of Galloway County in Scotland, where he began living in a cave, surviving by stealing food and belongings from passing tourists. Sawney Bean and his wife had children with whom they committed incest. This family began to grow, as they all had relationships with each other. Sawney Bean's clan grew to 48 people, and what they stole was no longer enough to eat. The Bean family began to take the lives of people who passed near their cave, and then eat them. For 25 years, this family survived doing this savage activity, until one day a couple was attacked by the Bean family, but the man managed to defend himself with a gun, but his wife did not survive. The man had discovered the cave of the Bean clan, so he decided to report it to the authorities. After that, the soldiers of the King of Scotland went to the cave where they captured the whole family, and then they were condemned to be burned at the stake.
Most powerful things in the world. Most powerful countries, United States and China. Most powerful passport, Japanese. Most powerful person, Xi Jinping. Most powerful car, Koenigsegg Agera. Most powerful company, Apple Inc.
A man woke up and
I believe that.
his window. Late one night, a man by the name Charlie from Jalisco, Mexico, woke up to strange sounds coming from the front of his house.
Sounds like a horse galloping.
Something galloping can be heard getting closer. past them and patiently waits for it to pass by. Nothing's there. Charlie believes that what he captured that night was the manifestation of El Charro Negro, a horseman entity of Mexican tale, which is believed to wander the night in search of an unsuspecting victim in order to offer a malicious deal. After watching the clip, I'm not sure whether to be scared by the window opening or by the entity.
Do you notice something kind of off about this mannequin? For anyone who's familiar with the legend, she is known as La Pascualita. The mannequin has stood in the window of a Mexican bridal shop for more than 90 years, but when she was first placed there, patrons noticed something kind of strange. The detail work on this mannequin was unusual. She was noted with eyebrow hair, veins, and even discoloration around her mouth and ears. But that suspicion soon grew to horror as patrons started to notice that she bore a striking resemblance to the owner's deceased daughter, Pascuala. Pascuala was actually said to be married herself, but ended up dying in a tragedy before her wedding day. Shortly after her death, the mannequin appeared in the window and the legend was born that these were the preserved remains of the owner's daughter. But the most compelling evidence has always been the hands. The hands are shown with wrinkles, they have veins, they even have lifelike fingernails, which is unlike any mannequin I have ever seen. The question remains to this day, could this really be the shop owner's daughter?
Too many similarities, man. They were drawn to the body, so
Creepiest urban legend from each country. Philippines. White Lady of Balit Drive. Puerto Rico. Chupacabra.
I'm about to share with you the most haunted gravesite of all time.
Talk about
That's
it.
the grave of a woman named Charlotte M. Sitton. Apparently back in the day, this woman lost both of her children to an epidemic. Being so distraught over her loss, she took her own life to be with her children again. She ended up hanging herself by her children's old school. But ever since her death, her soul has been restless. It hasn't been able to find peace. So to this day, she still haunts her gravesite. It's believed that every Friday evening from 10 to 11:30 p.m. you can see Charlotte at her grave. A number of locals have actually seen her just walking back and forth by her grave. She also likes to visit her children's graves and has been seen there holding flowers and weeping over them. Are you brave enough to visit this gravesite? Let me know in the comments below.
Nah, not me. That's too much dark energy for me. I'll stay away from that. Could you guys do it, Seekers? But your soul, so people who do.
Today we're looking at one of the most extreme tribal rituals, part 4. Let's get it started. The Agori tribe are a part of a Hindu sect believed to be 1,000 years old. They're known as Sadhu and they live their entire life towards enlightenment in a very radical way. They're known for living in caves and cremation burial grounds, and their practices are some of the most taboo in the Hindu religion. One of their most famous practices is cannibalism. Now they don't kill people, but they eat the flesh of the dead, believing that it speeds up spiritual enlightenment. The Agori smear the ashes of dead people on their body to imitate their god Shiva, and they believe that the life force of the deceased lives in the top of their skull. So they will drink alcohol and even their own urine from the skull. They believe this is how they gain power over the spirit. Here's a picture of a famous Agori wearing a necklace made out of human teeth and gums. The Agori have a reputation of being very feared but also respected.
That looks like that guy, you know, who there was this interview that was going around. Oh, yeah, I think somebody, it was like on Twitter, some guy interviewing, I think somebody from that tribe, if I'm not mistaken. I was trying to like warn him to stop asking questions because he was going to try to eat him or something like that. I'm about to try to find it for you guys.
Did you know that the Crypt Keeper from Tales of the Crypt actually has Chucky's eyes? The dolls were made by the same person, and when HBO started running out of money to make the show, they needed him to just start using parts he had lying around. So the doll's actually made with a lot of the animatronics that Chucky used and his eyes. Now you know.
Fun fact, if you've ever gone into work and thought, wow, my boss is a complete idiot, you're probably right, and that can be explained with the Peter Principle. The Peter Principle was developed by Dr. Lawrence Peter and states that an employee in a company will be promoted until they reach their level of incompetence, and then they won't be promoted anymore, meaning everyone in the management chain is incompetent. If we use a retail store as an example, a good floor employee will be promoted to supervisor. If they're a good supervisor, they'll be promoted to manager. But if they lack the skills to be a good manager, they will not be promoted to district manager, meaning they're incompetent. Between 2005 and 2011, a study was conducted that looked at 53 3,000 employees across 214 American sales companies, and during that time, 1,500 sales reps were promoted to sales managers. And the Peter Principle was found to be true. Many of the sales reps who were promoted were bad managers, because they were promoted based on the fact that they were top-performing salespeople, not because they displayed the skills necessary to be strong leaders and effective managers.
Creepy last words people said right
Wrong
before
choices.
dying. Registered nurse Shirley Smith said that she had a very rich patient who was a true Satanist that was dying of cancer. The patient had upside-down crosses and a Satan's Bible by her bedside. Shirley said that she will never forget what happened. It was the middle of the summer, and yet it was so cold and dark in her room that you couldn't even stand it, even in the middle of the day. She said that it got so evil feeling in there that she had to call a priest to pray with her and her aides before they would even enter the room. When the patient passed away, she had not spoken in over 24 hours. And then all of a sudden, she sat straight up and said, "Satan, take me." And then she fell back on the bed. Shirley said that after she passed, the room got bright and extremely warm. Shockingly, when they moved the patient's body, they had to get rid of the mattress because where her body had been, it looked burnt. And the most horrible smell was emanating from the mattress cover. Needless to say, Shirley went to confession immediately because she did not want an evil spirit around her. A nurse said that one of their patients had a serious recurrence and had to be admitted. Over the course of several nights, he had become quite upset during rounds. He kept asking for his wallet, saying that he had to pay the ferryman. The medical student on rotation in the department took a quarter out of his pocket and put it in the patient's hand. The patient then dropped the coin into the cup on his bedstand and calmed down. Later that night, he passed away quietly. The nurse asked what happened. The medical student, who remembered his Greek mythology, said that the patient had to pay Charon, the ferryman, to be taken across the river Styx. A nurse said that he was doing rounds at a hospital. There was one two-patient room, and one of the patients was a very loud and confused woman who could be quite a handful. On this particular night, she had a roommate who had passed away shortly before the nurse entered the room. She was DNR, so there was no code blue. When he entered the room, he noticed that the elderly lady, who was usually very loud and confused, was sitting quietly with her hands crossed neatly upon her lap. Something was different, and there was this look of serenity on her face. She asked him in a voice that seemed much younger and clearer than before, "Did you see them, young man? They're so beautiful." He said, "No, ma'am, there's no one else here." She said, "They're right next to you, talking to Mrs. Banneker, the angels. They're so beautiful." He said that he instantly felt every hair of his body stand up, and an electric tingle course up and down his spine. "They're not here for me this time," she said sadly.
What are they here for then? That nurse looked like, was he touched by the angels? They were just around him, she could feel their energy. Interesting. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I greatly appreciate the support, man. Like I said, guys, make sure you comment down below. Hit that post notification bell, man, so we can grow and expand and more people can join our community, the seekers. Thank you guys for the support. You guys are gonna catch in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.
About to make a sunset. Look at this. Freaking I see through clear. Look at that. Pull it up. Look at that. What the hell? Dude, some fake ass onion. Look at that.
Oh, rubbery. We eating fake fruit and vegetables out here. We gotta test it now.
These are not real bananas. We got it from the supermarket, but when she opens it and she breaks it in half, it gets very tough and doesn't really break.
It's like so freaking rubbery, bro.
Fake
They trying to kill us, man. We gotta stop this, man. We gotta start growing our own fruit. This shit from Sam's Club, man.
There I was cutting it, and this is what I found inside. I don't even know if this is even a watermelon or something else. I mean, is this like some
Probably grown in a lab.
something they created in a lab?
So I cut watermelons for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. I've seen enough videos of people posting rubbery watermelon. I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon.
We need to be testing our freaking food out here. I thought that was a stick too.
Now tell me why this cow is always staring at me acting strange. Out of all the cows that we have. Tell me why this one is always just like staring at me.
What the hell?
He's again staring me down. I mean, compared to all the cows that are just minding their own business.
What the f is that? A stray? Whoa. What the? What type of fish is that? You know, that's something like that looks like it's deep, deep, deep under the sea, bro. What the hell? And so the way the jaw extended? First time seeing something like that.
So there's several videos
Venom
going viral
confirmed.
right now of what's supposed to be green lasers descending from the sky.
People's homes scanning the ground with that green laser.
People started paying attention after this particular video went viral. In this video you can see a plane flashing a green laser and kind of scanning the ground. This made a lot of people start questioning what the heck was going on. Where were these green lasers coming from? And then just a couple of months later, a CCTV camera captured what looks like several green laser beams of light descending from space. Needless to say, this caught a lot of attention, and experts and researchers were saying that this probably came from a Chinese satellite, but no one knows. Now this is where things take a really strange turn. Just a couple of months after, there were several videos popping up all over the internet of what's supposed to be these green laser beams descending from the sky.
Woo. Why are they scanning us?
What in the shell of it is that?
Looks like some out of a damn Terminator
This got
movie.
so much attention that it ended up on the news, and they actually found out that some of the planes scanning the ground with these green lasers were owned by a company named Randigo, but still, no one knew why they were doing this.
And I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times. I've never had flight radar until this happened. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it. It just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo.
Little by
It's
little, people
Randigo.
started researching about Randigo, and they found out several patterns. In one of them, you can see several pictures coming from flight radar of the plane's paths. Whatever they're doing, it's as if they're scanning something, maybe weather patterns, maybe something else. In another Reddit post, someone found out that the company owns 33 planes and 33 employees. And I don't know why, but this raised a lot of red flags.
Dude was gonna crash into the house. Wait till you see the laser coming off the bottom of it. Check the radar map. He's 1,200 feet off the ground.
That's way too close.
You see that green laser coming off
see it.
And then another Reddit user posted something like this. This plane flew over me this evening and was spraying something. Smell was awful. So I did a quick research just to double check if this plane was owned by Randigo, and guess what? It is. Strange, isn't it? What the heck is going on? It seems no one knows, but I want to know your take. What are these green lasers descending from space and from planes? What's going on?
Why are they scanning people? And if it's owned by Randigo, by 33 people? Ooh. This is too advanced. What the hell? Woo. Oh my goodness. This is how far technology has come. Look at that. That looked real, man. It sort of like had all the details when it opened up. Technology is getting advanced each and every single day. Why the hell is salt? If you put it at like a specific hertz, it's making different patterns. Why is that?
In the world, located in Quebec, Canada, this forest has a pretty creepy atmosphere. It might be because the ground looks like it's moving, making it seem like Mother Earth is taking a deep breath. This next one is actually terrifying. Located in Penang, Malaysia, this huge water tornado was getting extremely close to this apartment building. Fortunately, it stopped right in front of the building because it ran out of water. And how about this one? It used to be a hiking area before it got flooded, so everything you see here used to be above water. Imagine being a fish and seeing this appear out of nowhere.
Here are some experiments that went horribly wrong. In 1983, a man volunteered to be a test subject for a groundbreaking experiment. Scientists disconnected every sensory nerve from the man's brain to see if he could sense God's presence. The man could no longer feel, hear, see, or smell anything after this was done, and the experiment started. He started reporting that he could hear voices of the dead and gave details that he couldn't have ever known. He then said that he could see the entities, to which he started clawing at his own eyes. He eventually went insane and started biting chunks of his own flesh off. The last words the man spoke before his death were, "I have spoken with God, and he has abandoned us." It is uncertain if this was real or fake, but it is sure to send shivers up your spine.
What do you guys think about that story, Seekers? Fact or cap?
Things you should never Google. Lemon Party. Harlequin Fetus. Blue Waffle. Dead Lover.
Facts that will blow
Take
your
their
mind.
word for it.
Humans are the only animals that enjoy spicy foods.
Really?
Potato chips cause more weight gain than any other food. It's impossible to hum while you hold your nose. The least interesting day in history was April 11th, 1954. Aldous Huxley and C.S. Lewis died on the same day as JFK. Bigger forks lead you to eat less. The longest living insect is the termite. Chewing gum after a meal reduces heartburn. Dogs can smell cancer. Bees can detect bombs. Follow and comment below which fact blew your mind.
For me, it would have to be the two last ones, man. Dog can smell cancer and bees can detect bombs. We need to be training these bees then, bro. Have our own me unit. Sniffing on bombs, man. I had no idea they can do that. What the more you know, man. And about the fact about dogs, I kind of heard that before, like how a dog can kind of tell how you're sick before, like even the doctors can pick up on it, or even you can pick up on it. Like they just know. They can just sniff that out. The more you know, man. Crazy facts.
This is the Backrooms Explained. The Backrooms are alleged to be an alternate terrifying dimension that people end up in when they glitch out of reality. Upon glitching into the Backrooms, you will find 600 million square miles of randomly segmented empty rooms that literally go on forever. Nothing but the stink of moist carpet, the madness of the color mono yellow, and the endless background noise of fluorescent lights at maximum hum buzz. And if you hear something moving, you better run because the chances are they heard you too. In order to escape, it is said you have to complete a series of levels, which test you to an impossible standard. Which is why if you ever enter the Backrooms, you're most likely never getting out.
The Backrooms, bro. We know there's a lot of TikToks on the Backrooms that can really break it down. He did it good too. They even making a game about the Backrooms recently too. See, because you know how we can call it
This 71-year-old man reportedly hasn't left his house for the last 55 years because he is terrified of women. According to a short film by Aframax, Calixte Zamweta barricaded himself inside what's become a wooden fortress at just 16 years old. And this is all because he never wanted to talk to or see a woman ever again. They say that he suffers from a type of anxiety disorder called genophobia, which is the fear of women. Experts say that you can develop this phobia through experiencing a traumatic event, or be predisposed to it through your genetics. But whatever's got him shook must be pretty damn powerful, because the small hut he's been willingly trapped in for the last 55 years only has one bedroom, meaning he sleeps, cooks, cleans, and even relieves himself all in one place. But even though he's terrified of women and does everything in his power to keep them out, they are the ones keeping him alive. The video claims that the women of his village are the ones who bring him food and other essential items that he needs to survive. They do this by tossing the items over the fence, and when they leave, he'll cautiously come out, collect them, and then quickly go back inside. The question is, how rare do we think genophobia really is?
That's the first time I even heard about something like that. You can actually have something that makes you scared of women? Maybe more people got that, man, and they just don't know that they have it. The hell? But it's kind of ironic, though. Like, the women are the one that's helping keeping him alive there because they give him food and supplies. But yet, he's scared of them. And then for 30 years in that small hut.
The most sick and twisted slasher we've ever seen. A lot of you guys seem to think that the bedroom scene from Terrifier 2 is not that crazy, and I genuinely think that there's something wrong here. That scene is genuinely one of the most insane scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie. We don't see things like that coming from Jason. We also don't see things like that coming from Michael, especially with the lead up of Terrifier 3. As we know, I'm pretty sure this kid is getting packed up. And with the fact that Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus for most of the movie, meaning he's going to be decorating some trees. Now, going over a couple OGs from the slasher scene, of course you have Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare Demon. For anybody who doesn't think Freddy's a slasher, his nickname is the Springwood Slasher. But he's really about it. The only thing Freddy's ever done that's comparable to anything that Art the Clown has done, from that, I think it's part 2, maybe it's part 1, where the kid literally gets sucked up through the bed. That was pretty up there. You then, of course, have my boy Ghostface, but he hasn't done anything absolutely crazy like that. You then have Michael. Started a ton of controversy in my last video. Needless to say, we've never seen an unaliving as brutal as the Art the Clown bedroom scene. And then you throw Leatherface in there. Still, once again, yes, he's a cannibal, but hasn't really done anything on the scale as Art. But yes, to answer my own question, I do think Art the Clown is the most sick and twisted slasher we've ever seen. What do you think?
Scary fun facts until the Orbeez overflow. There are microscopic mites that live in your eyelashes. Being buried alive happens so often on accident that they've now invented safety coffins. In the 1800s, dentures were made with real teeth from the deceased. Radio station UVB76 has been broadcasting since 1982. All it does is make creepy noises and nobody knows where it's broadcasting from. Chainsaws were originally invented for childbirth. The final part of Mount Everest that you have to climb is known as Rainbow Valley. They call it that because all you see is all the different colored jackets from the frozen hikers. And it looks like I'm out of time. Follow for more fun facts.
Damn, Rainbow Valley? Looks like a lot
I
of
don't
people
think I
didn't
really
make
hate
it.
any animal. Every animal has a purpose except this. I hate this bird. I hate everything it stands for. If Happy Feet had an Antarctic Antichrist in its cast, that movie would have been a snuff film. This is a giant petrel, but if you're a sailor, you probably know it by its street name, the Stinker. Because this satanic seagull on steroids is a meal plan of rotting, decaying, disease-ridden foulness I can't even imagine. Or maybe I just don't want to. And like an air-conditioned vulture, they have the same table manners, meaning they'll pull up to a corpse and start eating it from the softest point. So if you ever peep this flying, confident, red-faced Noah just got done tossing an expired elephant seal salad, which makes their choice in self-defense somehow more offensive. Press a petrol lord's kid and they'll projectile vomit vile-smelling corrosive stomach oils right to the face. Oils that are so acidic they can actually strip the waterproof coating off other birds' feathers. You know, I said vultures? That's not fair. At least vultures usually wait for you to die. Petrels do no such favors. Pain and paralysis demon will snatch up miners like Dan Schneider and rip them open alive. And remember, the Stinker will pull organs right out the poop chute. The freeze-dried booty bandit has been known to drown other birds like the Australian gannet. You wanna know what this predatory prostate exam is? This is if hyenas had wings. And don't think they just go after chicks. If they find an injured penguin, they will personally speedrun the process. Well, actually not speed, because again, the anal undertaker don't wait for you to pass tense. It's like the booty warrior from Boondocks came back as a bird. Blight to the animal kingdom with a negative rice purity score with a wingspan that can reach a shack. Alright, I'm done. They're not that bad. I just don't like the way they sound.
That's crazy. He said they the booty warriors, bro. Of birds, man. It's insane.
The most disturbing videos in the world. This picture contains a list of disturbing videos from least scary to the most. This will be my scariest series ever. Starting with tier 1, we're going to take a look at a couple of them. The first one is the creepy Japanese McDonald's commercial. Before you watch this, the idea of this commercial was that hunger watches you at night. The second one we're going to take a look at is Dining Room or There Is Nothing. Just take a look at it. This was just tier 1. Tomorrow's video for tier 2 is where things start getting crazy. Make sure to like and follow for tomorrow's video for tier 2.
I'm gonna be watching you at night when you.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows an 8-month-old Zhao Bao who is lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty.
What was the Russian sleep experiment is where they took 5 prisoners of war and kept them captive in a room for 30 days without sleep. The whole goal of this whole experiment was to see what would happen to the human body and mind without sleeping for 30 days. Kind of like a sleep deprivation experiment. And I'm gonna be honest, the way they were keeping them awake was absolutely insane. Not only having oxygen constantly pumped throughout that room, kind of like a casino, because obviously there was no windows because they didn't want them to know what time of day it was. Sort of, as I said, like a casino where they pump oxygen in, you have no idea what time it is, and you kind of always feel awake. But the other way they were keeping them awake was by pinning them with amphetamines to ensure them staying awake. Now obviously the experiment did not go as planned, with some of them just being unalive just due to the fact of being up for too long. Others screaming so loud that their vocal cords actually ripped out, causing them to be unalive. Now back in 2018, we were supposed to be getting a full feature-length film, a real adaptation of this creepypasta into a movie. Now there are some pretty good short films on YouTube depicting this whole entire story, but we were supposed to get a feature-length film a couple years ago. Now obviously this is a creepypasta, so comment down below what creepypasta I should cover next.
Damn, a fully feature film? What happened to it? Why did it like stop production? Why did it get canceled? They want us to see, I guess, the true extent of the experiment? That's my guess. It's creepypastas, man. Some weird backstories.
The devil works hard, Drake's PR works harder, but no one on earth does more than a horny male bird. One thing about ladybirds, they will make their guy work for it. Standards will make the average man have a heart attack. A bowerbird will spend days, weeks, sometimes months of his life building and decorating a bower, all in the name of female validation. They don't just build it either, they'll color code it too. They'll even people rival with a bigger bower and level the entire thing out of pure spite. That's not normal petty. Nah, that's advanced. Adelie penguins, yeah, remember them? They nest with rocks, so if a guy penguin wants to commit, he doesn't do it with a ring, but he does it with a stone, no diamond. But penguin politics means the guy can get cheated on by his girl, basically selling her body to someone else for a rock. Yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like. The world's oldest profession is older than you think, but also the opposite can happen, where a female flirts with a guy, gets his hopes up, and right when bro think he finna catch cloaca, she steals a rock out of his nest and then runs home to her actual mate. Imagine buying a girl a drink and she gonna get up and hand it to her husband. Like, you know what, I respect it. Bald eagles will do this thing where they lock talons in the air and kind of just death spiral back to earth. To them it's a ritual or just really risky foreplay. Apparently it's a test to evaluate whether this eagle's fit to be a mate. To be fair, they mate for life, so they kind of have to get it right. But they look real stupid when they hold on too long and end up bird smacking the ground together, effectively taking each other off the dating pool, permanently. Albatrosses have a very specific synchronized dance they do to reinforce their bond, and it's not just any dance, it's a ritual with certain steps and moves they have to get right. Crazy part is, some albatrosses don't get active till they're 10. They'll really spend years of their life perfecting a dance just to get a chance. The more you know.
It is criminal that more people don't know about this. A group of teenagers in Africa have just created the world's first hour-long superhero movie that's recorded on a phone and entirely edited on CapCut.
Whoa.
What you are seeing right now took a staggering 2 months to edit. They call themselves the African Cinematic Universe. The filming process took about 7 days and was all shot on a borrowed iPhone 10. All of the editing, including the VFX, the sound effects, was all done on CapCut using a Samsung 7S Edge and an Amazon Fire tablet. As if this needed to be any harder, but they did this all without any food or water. And no, comments, it's not because they were in Africa, it was because it was the month of Ramadan. And the ultimate fear around all of this is that their phone would crash during the export process and they would lose all of their work. So they overcame this by cutting and exporting the movie in 13 to 16 minute segments. And then by a stroke of luck, someone who saw the trailer donated them a PC so that they could put them all together and export the full hour. They even had a premiere for its release. Man, if they get their hands on some real editing equipment, Hollywood is cooked. This movie deserves way more attention. So please, for all of their hard work, let's show them some love. This is the scary story about...
It's crazy, the African Cinematic Universe, the ACU. Hey man, you know people might turn into that, bro, because you know how the MCU's going right now. It's not hot right now, but that's actually insane that they made a whole movie on a phone. Goes to show you, man. If you work with what you got, you can make something special.
About the woman in the night. A young man moved into an apartment building. The first night he slept in his new apartment, he was woke up by somebody knocking on the door at 1 o'clock in the morning. He got up and opened the door, and standing there was a young woman. She apologized for waking him up and told him that she was his neighbor. She said her husband was beating her and asked if she could spend the night on the sofa. The man felt bad and let her stay the night even though it seemed strange. The next morning, he checked the living room and discovered that the woman was already gone. He assumed that her husband and her made up. But that night, at the same time as before, the same girl was knocking on the door. The man opened it and she said her husband had beaten her up again and wondered if she could spend the night on the sofa again. He said yes, and the next morning when he got up, the woman was gone again. The man grew suspicious and asked his landlord about the strange neighbor. The landlord's face grew pale and said nobody lives in that apartment. He said a woman who lived there died 1 year ago after being beaten to death by her husband.
What? So was it all in his mind? Or just imagining things? The hell? The woman in that scary apartment. Definitely gonna have to dive deep into that one.
You'll never look at a mall Santa the same way after hearing this story. So this photo was taken around 1920 in a Christmas fair happening outside of Boston. The young child in this photo is Alberta Porter, the daughter of Robert Porter, who was supposed to be Boston's next mayor. Apparently, this Santa had set up around the corner from the rest of the fair and was not visible from the rest of the fair. Robert and his daughter actually didn't even see the Santa until they were walking home. The line to see Santa inside of the fair was way too long, so when Alberta saw this Santa, she started crying and begging her dad to take a photo with him. So this photo was taken, and afterwards, the Santa asked if Alberta wanted to go on a short ride on the donkey. and she starts crying and begging her father again, so he agrees. But Alberta never returned. An hour went by and Santa still hadn't brought her back. Robert ran into the fair to ask an employee how long the donkey rides typically last, but the employee seemed really confused. There was no Santa with donkey rides at this fair. The employee pointed to the Santa who had a long line of children out in front of him and said that was the only Santa at the fair. Alberta was never found, and Robert actually dropped out of politics to spend his entire life and savings on finding her and the man who took her, and never did.
Man. Be careful, bro. These are weird people out here pretending to be Santa.
Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and the new age slasher Art the Clown. It's this one thing. Gen slashers always hold true to this, because they're not threats. But will Art the Clown see it that way? I don't know, because from what I've been told, the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most disgusting, disturbing, and shocking things we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Terrifier 2 was absolutely insane, especially the bedroom scene. People were literally running out of the theaters and throwing up when they first saw Terrifier 2. And if the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most shocking and disturbing things we've seen from Art, what does that mean for this little person? What's going to happen? Because from the countless set photos we've seen, Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus and going to the mall. Meaning he's going to have a ton of people around him sitting on his lap and telling him what he wants for Christmas. Now, we already know what Art the Clown wants for Christmas. He wants to decorate with people. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions and tagged in this video. Do I think Art the Clown is genuinely going to pack this kid up? I don't know. I don't think Damien Leone is going to go that far, but if it's been said that this movie is going to be 10 times shocking, especially the first 5 minutes, and we've already seen the 2-minute clip where Buddy's going crazy downstairs, I really don't know if I would put it past Art the Clown for him to do this. I just kind of hope not.
These are some extremely unsettling facts, and I found all of these on Reddit. The Conjuring is one of the most influential horror movies of all time and actually helped pave the way for a lot of other movies that were to come along in the future. But there was a lot of dark stuff that went on behind the scenes. After they had finished their first day of filming, actress Vera Farmiga had noticed something very off. She had 3 very large claw marks on her body, much larger than any human could have possibly done. And when she was asked about it, she said, "There's no way that I could have left this and not known." And this further adds on to the urban legend of this movie actually being cursed. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the best known horror movies ever, but there's so much more behind this movie that I didn't tell you. Like the fact that the farm that this movie was filmed on actually had around 500 animal corpses underneath it. And where there's corpses, there's going to be a stench. And it got to be so unbearable that it got to the point that whenever the director would yell cut between takes, whether it was an actor, whether it was someone that was working on the crew, would have to sprint off screen and go vomit. And finally, this is one place on Earth you cannot visit. But before I get into that, you guys, I delve into a lot of darker things, so if you want something a little more positive, make sure you go peep my bio. You won't regret it. North Sentinel Island is an island off the coast of India. This place is widely known as one of the places on Earth you cannot visit. This is because the Northern Sentinelese people who live there have become very aggressive to all visitors. They've also had very, very, very limited contact with modern civilization as we know it. Even when boats are going by, these people are known to throw spears and shoot bows and arrows at them. But there's a reason behind this. The people of the Northern Sentinel Island were brutalized and abused by colonizers years ago, and this caused them to be very shut off from the rest of the world and be very aggressive towards visitors. And if we're being real, if that happened to you, you would do the same thing. And look, I know these are pretty dark even for me, but that's why.
Yeah, what he said in like 2 to 3 a.m.
This man fed his victims to his pigs. Robert Pickton picked up drug addicts and sex workers in Vancouver's red light district. He would take them to his farm where he would murder them in horrific ways, even injecting them with antifreeze. In 97, one of his victims managed to stab him and escape, and when she told the police, they didn't believe her because she was unreliable. He wouldn't be caught for another 5 years when his pig farm was raided for illegal weapons. During this, they found items and DNA from missing women. He was convicted of killing 6 women, but he confessed to 49, and he was quoted as saying he was very upset he couldn't make it to 50. He was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years.
That's one of the most craziest cases we've heard yet, man. Like, bro, people, they be coming freaking to the law to try to tell them what's going on, and they just dismissing them just because they don't think they're a reliable source, man. I'm wondering like how many cases in history could have possibly have been prevented if like the people in power and positions, they actually just listen to what a person's saying, just stop, busting them to the side thinking they lying or they just unreliable. or because they just don't feel like doing their jobs. If you really think about it, like, how many lives could have been saved? Crazy case. Okay. What do you guys think of those facts?
This is the scariest apps that you
theories.
should never get. This first one is called the Death Alert app. This app contains a database of real people, and when one of them dies, you'll get a notification. But it's not like every other like normal notification where your phone will buzz or your phone will just make a little noise. Nope. This one, your phone will literally scream at you. Then you'll be shown the dead person's name, their age, and their cause of death. But then you get a choice if you want to share it on Facebook or Twitter. And if that isn't scary enough, also in this, your phone's background will automatically change to a childhood photo of them.
Scary Facts Part 1.
Who would even want to have an app like that, man? Just to get notified of all those people passing away, and just so you can share it on social media. So what's the point of you just trying to get some clicks and views or something like that, man? Can't believe an app like that even exists, bro. Crazy to think about. I wonder how many people actually have that app. That's like, seem like it's cursed to me. I'm staying away from things like that. We'll not be getting that. No.
1. There's over 250,000 deaths per year due to medical error. If the sun blows up right now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. Over 20% of children report hearing voices in their head.
These are scary facts that you should probably know because they could happen to you. Tapeworms can grow up to 32 feet inside of your body. So if you have a tapeworm in your body that's been in there long enough, it could be up to 32 feet. This right here is a Fulmar chicken, and it may look cute, but if it thinks you're a threat, it will throw up on you. The way these birds defend themselves is by projectile vomiting. Real-life dolls like Annabelle have been possessed by demons. The chances are really small, but if you own a doll in your house, that can also be possessed by a demon, and you'll never know. And if you like the video, you'll be safe from all of these.
I've always had weird feelings about my sister dolls.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 1. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. Since then, they've removed all but one. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom, meaning they kill and eat each other. This behavior begins as early as 4 weeks old. Crocodiles are capable of galloping, similar to a horse. Luckily, alligators cannot. And while we're at it, tarantulas can swim. It's extremely common after you die that there will be extreme gas buildup and you will burp after death. And sometimes dead bodies can even sit up on their own. Also, if a pregnant woman dies, the gas buildup in her body can actually forcefully push a baby out. In other words, a post-mortem baby bazooka. Hearing is the last bodily function to go after one dies. So it's very possible that the last thing you ever hear is the paramedic calling off your CPR.
I never knew that fact about ducks. You know, growing up, we always thought ducks, you know, were some nice creatures, man. You know, Donald Duck, you seen them be with Mickey Mouse, but hey, I didn't know they turned to cannibalism, man, around like 4, he said, weeks old or 4 years old. The more you know, man, the more you know. And about those they say gators, alligators galloping. I didn't even know they were capable of that. The hell? Imagine you seeing that freaking like gator just galloping at you. I've been hitting the jets of that Seekers, man. I can't do that. I don't know how the people down the Florida deal with all those gators. That just ain't for me. No.
So, do you know what this is? It's called the Devil's Face, and it appeared on the map in Atlanta. Atlanta is considered one of the most religious places on Earth, and it was told that it could signal a sign. The planets in the land formed together to make what looks like a face that was seen from a satellite. This scared so many people within Atlanta's area that they began working on the area literally to wipe it out completely. They began cutting down the trees and flattening everything until you could no longer see a face. From that point on, the face literally disappeared. Do you think this was a coincidence?
Why the heck? They trying to see, they trying to erase this off the net, off the web, man. Good thing we found this video for you guys today, because I never even knew about that. They say Atlanta was one of the most religious places, had that face like just like implanted there. What caused it to, I guess, even make that face? Like I said, the environment or something like that. It seemed like it was a bunch of trees or something that just formed and made that face, but they worked quickly to wipe that out. Wonder how come we didn't see that trending on Twitter or on the news or somewhere. You think it would be reported. We would hear cases or something like that, right? But we haven't. Tap in with us, man. You can learn some interesting facts. That's crazy.
Follow for part 3.
You didn't even see what he had to say.
I only had to follow this emergency protocol in real life one time, and it was terrifying. Whenever we would do dives, training dives in active waterways, we used spotters that would try to stop boats and ships from driving over us and running us over. Because believe it or not, you can totally get run over by a boat, even if you're like 20 feet down, because the boat goes pretty far into the water. And so normally, these spotters would stop and divert traffic and we'd be fine. But occasionally, including this one time, the boats or ships wouldn't see the spotters, they wouldn't be able to stop them, and they would go into the training area. And they don't know that we're underneath them. And so the spotters would start lobbing these grenades into the water that were harmless but made the same sound. And they would train to throw as many as you can and continuously do it so that the divers hear all these explosions, and it means it's not safe to go to the surface, turn around and go straight down as deep as you can go and wait. And we did that, and this massive ship goes over us.
What the hell? I didn't even know. I didn't even think about that yet, because think about it. You think you're deep underwater, or you think if you're just underwater that you're safe, but the ship is actually big, so when it goes through that water, it's like you got to move out the way or you're going to get hit. I didn't know, like I said, they threw massive freaking grenades too. I'm like, grenades? But now I think, not actual grenades, because that would be insane. It's probably like some shock grenades or something like that. Well, I don't know how many accidents happen because the spotters, they tried to warn the ships, but they didn't even pay attention. They just went straight through.
These are
the quickest fact
React
ever.
to Jump Scares Part 7. If you don't jump, you win.
Alright.
Okay, it's not that scary. Oh, shoot, bro. What just happened?
What happened? Woo. Did you guys jump, man? I kept my cool, bro. I think I passed that jump scare. When he went off the camera, I kind of had this feeling. I suspected something was just going to, pop up on us. But we passed that with flying colors. I did.
facts you'll wish you never knew. Part 4. Bacteria lives in your belly button. Back in 2012, scientists found 1,400 new species of bacteria that live there. Just like fingerprints, each person has their own unique bacteria farm that separates them from other people. Some bacteria can even travel around. Scientists once tested a volunteer and found bacteria that could only be found in the soils of Japan. But the volunteer had never been to Japan. There's a strain of rust that could wipe out billions of people from the earth. It's called the UG99 stem and was found in Uganda back in 1999. And it destroys 100% of the wheat in a field that it's in. And because of how much wheat is produced on a massive scale, if this strain infects production sites like in Europe, India, or China, it would cause billions of people to either starve to death or die of sickness. Next, there's a toxin called botulinum toxin, and just 60 grams of this is enough to kill every single person that has ever lived. It's a common substance found in Botox injections, and just a teaspoon of it can kill every single person alive right now. And the CDC in Atlanta is a Pandora's box that is one mistake away from unleashing the deadliest sicknesses known to mankind. If there's ever a breach, years of medical advancements will become useless because of the hordes of deadly diseases that are studied there.
Facts that I wish I didn't know. When Gerardo Mendina turned 18 years old, his mom, Lena, was 23, meaning she had her son at just 5 years old, making her the youngest mother ever. Sudden adult death syndrome is the thing, where your heart just stops seemingly for no reason, like a cardiac arrest, except no cardiac arrest can be detected. So dementia is what they say when there's symptoms of a decline in thinking skills and memory loss, and Alzheimer's is the disease that can cause it. And signs that you might grow up and have this can be detected as early as 3 years old. Not just that though, the symptoms too. Alzheimer's and dementia in children exists, meaning that anybody at any age can completely lose their mind and become a husk of themselves.
Crazy to think about.
This picture is an example of a psychological phenomenon known as the uncanny valley. Most people, when they look at this image, are freaked out, and here's why. Our brains accept things that look human, but when there are slight differences, we become extremely uneasy, and this is known as the uncanny valley. A popular example of this is the movie The Polar Express, and this one definitely freaked me out as a kid. And it's because the characters look human, but not quite. Here's some more examples, but fair warning, they're definitely nightmare fuel.
Gruesome facts
The uncanny valley effect. Does that really like shake y'all seekers? To me, not really, but I know she said how some people, they just can't stand, to look at it. It seems human, but it's really not. My God, that Polar Express, that one kind of hits different, man, because you used to watch that as a kid, and you didn't even know they placed that in the media, man. The more you know, man. Tap in with us, man. You're gonna learn some things.
You didn't know.
Open your mind.
22. This is Zone Rogue, a 42,000-acre area of land in France that was isolated by the government following World War I. They deemed the area too damaged and too dangerous from lead, mercury, arsenic, and chlorine, as well as being saturated with human and animal remains, unexploded shells, grenades, and ammunition. This devastating photo, taken in 1945 by marine photographer Joe O'Donnell, shows a little boy waiting his turn to cremate his dead little brother. The boy bit his lip so hard that it bled and silently walked away after placing his brother in the fire. When traveling to Somalia, the U.S. State Department officially recommends that you draft a will and designate insurance beneficiaries. They also suggest that you designate a family member as a point of contact with hostage takers. On the evening of May 14th, 1998, Frank Sinatra suffered a massive heart attack. The ambulance that was carrying him and his wife both made it to the hospital in record time. This was due to the nearly deserted streets, as everyone else was at home watching the finale of Seinfeld.
Curtain number 1.
Creepy fact. Had it.
Things humans were never meant to see.
Je pense que le professeur ne va pas venir aujourd'hui. Donc je retourne à la maison.
Oh. Hit the jets.
Can someone explain this, please?
creepy ass cloud. No, that's like two suns. What the hell? I don't know if that's an illusion or something.
The scale of this marble quarry is so huge that it makes the excavator look like a tool. What bioluminescence looks like in the rain.
Whoa.
What the hell
Well,
just
that's
happened
facts.
in Illinois? Seemingly out of nowhere yesterday morning, a massive sinkhole opened right in the middle of this football field in Alton. It completely swallowed up a number of bleachers and one of the huge floodlights. Now luckily, at the time, there was no one on the pitch when this happened, otherwise this would be a very different piece of news. And although it looks like some freaking sign of the apocalypse, it's said to have been caused by a working underground mine that experienced a surface subsidence. Fortunately, no one in the mine was injured either.
If you see this in the ocean, get out fast. In 2016, an Australian fisherman saw this near his boat. At first, he thought it was some kind of alien creature, but he soon realized it was something even scarier. This is actually a swollen whale. When a whale passes away, it swells up, and eventually so much gas builds up that the whale's body explodes. This sends whale guts everywhere. Whales can explode with so much force that they can injure or end human lives. As soon as he realized the danger he was in, the fisherman, Mark Watkins, sailed away. But this whale definitely looks like it's ready to pop.
The hell? I didn't even know whales can explode? What the? Well, we knew that, but I didn't know like it builds up with gas. But watching these clips together, you know, I've learned that they said even when people pass away, like they can like burp and, you know, I guess cough and stuff like that because gas builds up in their body. So it happens to animals as well. The more you know, see, I kept that in my knowledge bank. Reference that, man.
This might be the most disturbing experiment that NASA has ever conducted. Morbid Facts, Part 87. In the 1960s, NASA was funding an experiment to try to teach humans how to communicate with dolphins. They hired a woman named Margaret Howe Levatt, whose only credentials were that she loved animals, perhaps a little too much. She stayed in a flooded home with a male dolphin named Peter and practically lived with him for 6 days out of the week. Peter was a sexually maturing male dolphin, so Margaret often had to satisfy him to calm him down. This led to the formation of an intense emotional bond that was abruptly ended once the experiment was shut down. A heartbroken Peter struggled mightily with the separation and became deeply depressed. One day, he decided to take one final breath before sinking down to the bottom of his tank and effectively ending his own life. Ever since then, this experiment has been regarded as extremely unethical and weird as shit.
You think? She was doing that to a damn dolphin? Wrong on so many levels.
Creepiest things kids have ever said. A woman drove past the cemetery with her 3-year-old daughter. Now they would drive past it every day. 3-year-old would tell her mom that people in there were waving at her. This would go on for a while until they decided to stop driving past the cemetery forever. This is because the daughter mentioned that there was an old lady wanting her to come in there. An aunt asked her niece to draw her imaginary friend for her. And this is what she drew. A humanoid figure with about 10 legs and their head detached. A little girl was playing in the McDonald's playhouse by herself and alone. The mother took this picture of her in the tunnel. To their surprise, in the photo, they saw another child. But mind you, she was playing in there alone. When they asked their daughter who it was, she said, "That's my imaginary friend, Beto." A little boy told his dad he had an imaginary friend, called him the Hanging Man, and said he would visit him in his room every night, and even drew a picture of him for his dad. So the dad hid a camera in the child's room to see what he was talking about, and caught this. Check this out.
Hey Eliza, do you remember the day you were born?
No, but I remember the earth was open and I crawled out of hell.
Do they have a return policy on children? Because I think she needs one. Speaking
What
of
the
birth,
heck?
there is a 1 in 365 chance of you meeting someone with your exact birthday. Put your birthday down below to see if you can find your twin. Make sure to hit that follow button because part 2 is crazy.
Yeah, put your birthday down below.
Research published yesterday has revealed that crows experience a much higher level of consciousness than we previously thought. A study into their brain revealed that crows experience primary consciousness, previously only observed in primates. We've always known crows were clever. They are excellent problem solvers, and creepily enough, research has shown that when a crow encounters a mean human, it will then teach other crows how to identify the human. Research has also shown that crows never forget a face, so remember that next time you're messing with one. The fact that crows, which last shared a common ancestor with primates 320 million years ago, are aware of themselves and their thoughts means we may have to completely rethink our understanding of consciousness and which animals experience it.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. Part 1. The average person will spend 5 months of their life waiting for red lights to turn green. The FDA allows 1 rodent hair per 100 grams of peanut butter. So if you've eaten peanut butter, you've likely ingested at least a bit of rat hair. If you confess that you murdered someone to a priest, your secret is protected by Catholic law, meaning that you could admit to killing someone and then get away with it. The average person walks past 16 murderers in their lifetime. The reason that you can smell farts is because the poop particles are literally inside your nose. Ducks become cannibals due to boredom, so they sometimes randomly eat each other. And this is what a child's skull looks like before they lose their baby teeth.
What the hell? Saw that skull, man? All those teeth in there, bro? And I didn't know it, like, when you farted, the poop particles that be in your nose. What the hell? So every single time you smell a fart, bro, you have poop in your nose. Just blowing our reality wide open, man. That's crazy.
Wait, the sky outside is fake?
When they launch this fake alien invasion, everybody gonna swear it's real. You know why? Because people don't know that the sky is CGI technology. I've been telling y'all this. That's not your real sky. See the sky behind me? That same sky up there. That motherfucker is not real. Alright? It's not real. I've been telling y'all that for a reason, because it's being controlled. There's 5 layers to it. It's CGI technology. They showed you this shit in that movie Kong when he threw the motherfucking spear at the motherfucking sun, nigga. Right? They showed it right to you, but before they showed it to you in Kong, for those of you who've been listening to me at university, y'all know from day one I've been telling y'all this. So if people not know that CGI technology, once they get the change in the frequency of the sky, and they get the altering the layers of the sky, they make it look like it's a war going on right there that's not. Alright? They make it seem like it's these huge spaceships that's in the sky that's not. And then they're gonna actually use actual spaceships that they do have from other extraterrestrial species like these insectoids and these greys and these other ones that they got, they in cahoots with. They gonna make this shit look real, y'all. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie. Listen, this gonna be the biggest movie they never put out, nigga. This gonna be the biggest movie they ever put out. I'm saying movie for a reason, because the shit ain't real, but it's gonna look real. Listen, you ain't better tell people that we ain't under UFO invasion.
You could be onto something. Stay weird.
These are the
Interesting
5
theory.
scariest space facts. You've been warned. If a massive asteroid was headed for the Earth, the chances are there isn't really much we could do. At any moment, the sun could emit a coronal mass ejection aimed at the Earth, and if we weren't prepared for it, it could destroy the entire world's energy grid and leave us without power for years. There are black holes lurking in the shadows, roaming throughout our galaxy, and if one entered our solar system, it would be all over. When a star runs out of fuel, it can emit a gamma ray burst, and if a star within 3,000 light years of Earth happened to emit a gamma ray burst, and it was aimed at us, the ozone layer would be destroyed. Finally, every year there is more space junk created, putting us at risk of being trapped within the Earth.
Man, yeah, junk on Earth, junk in space, bro. It's like all that just keep piling up and up. I don't even know there was space junk. I mean, I knew there was some things, but I didn't know it was like gonna get bad to that level. Everywhere polluted, man. Even in space, that make no damn sense.
This is a scary story about the school trip. An entire class of 6th graders went on a school trip one day. Everybody was taking pictures with their phones and cameras and having such a great time. But when they all got back to school, they started looking through all the photos they took, when suddenly one of the girls screamed, "Oh my god, what is that?" In the picture, one of the boys in the class was sitting on the bus, and nothing seemed strange about the photo until you looked at his reflection in the window. His face in the reflection looked like it was yellow and bulging, and completely mutating. Also, there was a white floating figure behind him in the reflection. Everybody turned the photo upside down and realized it was a human skull, and it was horrific. And when the boy saw the photo of himself, he immediately burst into tears and had a panic attack. The teacher then took the boy to the nurse's office, and the principal banned everybody from speaking about the strange photo ever again. And to make this even scarier, 7 days later, the boy died from a brain tumor. The photo is said to be on the internet somewhere, but I don't recommend looking for it.
Here are 10 creepy, disturbing, and scary facts you didn't know. Part 2. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. Until 1974, it was illegal to appear in public in the city of Chicago if you were ugly. During the early 1990s, a serial killer named Joseph Metheny owned a burger stand located in Baltimore, Maryland. After his arrest in 1996, he confessed to feeding his customers the flesh of at least 3 humans he had murdered. A new homeowner was shocked to find a rag doll boarded up in a wall cavity, clutching a note saying she killed a family. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 42 seconds. To this day, we still don't know where that signal came from. The movie The Hills Have Eyes was based on the true story of the Bean Clan, a Scottish family who would secretly ambush, kill, and eat travelers for 25 years. In 1957, 2 sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, were killed in a tragic car accident. A year later, their mother gave birth to twins, Jennifer and Jillian. Then it gets weird. Jennifer, the younger twin, had scars and birthmarks on her body that were identical to Jacqueline's, the deceased younger sister. The twins began to ask for toys that had belonged to the deceased girl, toys they had no knowledge of. Albert Fish, an American serial killer, boasted that he killed in every state and claimed to have had over 100 victims. What makes him even more sickening is that he sent letters to his victims' parents to tell them how good their children tasted.
Disgusting.
A man named Francesco Lentini had 3 legs, 4 feet, 16 toes, and 2 sets of functioning male genitals. He worked for a circus and lived until the age of 78. In 2011, Anatoly Yurovich was arrested after 12 dolls were found in his apartment. However, they weren't regular dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that he had dug up, dressed up, and displayed.
What the fuck?
Like for part 3.
There's people on the road.
Told me something a little girl should know. It's all about the devil.
That wasn't it.
This is one of Spirit Halloween's creepiest props. This is Gruesome Granny from 2013, and she is easily in my top 10 props of all time. She's made by Techie Design, and they did a great job on her. Her head and hands have an awesome amount of detail, and the baby does too. And as you can see, she's pretty animated as well. She rocks back and forth while singing her baby to sleep. Her mouth moves, head turns, and her head lifts up and down. Almost everything about her to me is phenomenal. I just wish her clothing was more reflective of how long she's been dead. I mean, she's clearly been rotting for a very long time, yet her clothes are still mostly pristine. And as per usual for techie props, my favorite part about her is the audio. It is just so fucking awesome. She sings Rockabye Baby, and it's very creepy. There's a music box in the background, the baby's laughing and crying. It's just a really well-constructed soundtrack. And she does a good job at making people uncomfortable. Some people don't like this concept at all. I've seen a lot of sensitive people flip shit over this one. But I think she's weirdly wholesome. I mean, a grandmother's love transcending even death. I don't know, I think that's pretty fucking metal though. She retailed for $170 back in the day and is clearly another massive W for Techie.
Tell us some kids. Yeah, she's gonna terrorize some kids.
Terrifying facts you never knew. If your immune system ever found out that you have eyeballs, you would go blind. Which means right now your immune system has no clue that you can see. Because if they did, they would attack your eyeballs until you can no longer ever see. This is because your eyeballs have a protein in them called crystalline that doesn't exist anywhere else in your body. So if your immune system found out and checked them out, it would be like, something's wrong here. Studies show that most serial killers are born in November. Today's high school students have the same anxiety levels as insane asylum patients had in the 1950s. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, my anxiety might be up there too. There's a disease called fatal familial insomnia, where people suddenly one day lose their ability to fall asleep, which leads them to slowly go insane. They can't distinguish dreams from reality anymore and go into some type of paranoia. It becomes so severe that they eventually die. Those that make it to the final stage and don't die usually end up in a vegetative state, no longer conscious. And it can happen to any one of you. About 3,000 people go missing every year in the United States. The last execution by guillotine was in 1977. This was in France. And also that was the same year the first Star Wars movie came out. You are always 6 minutes away from death, but breathing resets the clock. In 2011, Anatoly Yakovlevich was arrested for having 12 dolls in his apartment. Only problem is, they weren't normal dolls. They were recently deceased little girls that had been dug up and dressed to be put on display. In 2012, a Burger King employee anonymously posted this to 4chan. It said, "This is the lettuce you eat at Burger King." It only took 20 minutes for people to track down the branch that he worked at, and he was fired. You really never know what people are doing to your food. H.H. Holmes was a serial killer who built a torture hotel in the 19th century. He had secret rooms with gas chambers, trap doors, and stairs that led to nowhere. He loved to play with his victims' minds. It was almost like a real-life Saw movie. There's a bridge in Scotland called the Overtoun Bridge, and for some reason, dogs keep jumping off of it at the same spot. Yeah, they just jump to their deaths. Experts can't figure out why either. Some people speculate it's a magnetic field, or maybe a frequency that only they can hear, but others believe it's something supernatural. But whatever is making dogs jump off that bridge to their deaths is still to this day unexplained. Joe Matheny was an infamous serial killer who not only cooked his victims to eat for himself, but also made them into burgers, using their remains. He then sold them to unsuspecting customers from a roadside food stand. We really never know what we eat. I'm cooking all my food myself, because why don't we eat over people's house? In 2021, a new homeowner was shocked to find a boarded up wall. When he ripped the boards off the wall, he discovered a hole. In that hole was a doll clutching a note. The note saying that she killed a family who lived there in the 1960s. Be honest, would you move out? In 1978, there was a pilot named Frederick Valentin. Him and his plane disappeared in Australia. His last communication was, "Melbourne, that strange aircraft is hovering above me again." It is hovering, and it is not an aircraft. This is a mugshot of William West and William West. Oh, and they're not related at all. But they were both sent to Leavenworth Prison at the exact same time in 1903. And after some confusion, the staff finally figured it out. They were two different people who had the exact same name and looked identical. This was said to be one of the main reasons why we now use fingerprints to identify somebody. There's biotech being developed as we speak that can make prisoners feel they are serving an 1,000-year sentence in a matter of 8 hours. That's horrifying. Imagine thinking you spent 1,000 years somewhere, and then when you wake up and snap out of it, you realize that it was only a couple hours. Do you know how crazy that is? Anyways, like this.
We're not doing that in the state of Florida.
That's the message behind the bill Governor DeSantis signed Wednesday. It takes aim at meat grown by scientists in a lab, making it a crime to manufacture or sell cultivated meat in Florida.
What they want to say is this is the same as raising cattle and doing it naturally, then there's no reason that you have this industry. So it is designed to represent a threat to agriculture as we know it.
And supporters say the new law offers protections to Florida's cattle industry.
It's never been more important than today to protect Florida's farmers and ranchers, and that's what this legislation does.
But opponents say concerns about lab-grown meat are overblown. Federal regulators have already said some products are safe and ready to eat after receiving FDA approval last year, a point made by cultivated meat industry members during the legislative session.
Cultivated meat is safe, period. We make our chicken with a safe process in a safe environment, and USDA inspectors are on site during operations at all times, from beginning to end.
Others have argued this law threatens the free market and is too short-sighted.
Bro!
Hell no, man. I think that should be everywhere, bro. I don't want to eat no lab-grown meat. I want it to be natural, man. Now, see, because we got to watch what we eat nowadays, man, because the meat, it's fake. We don't know what's real or fake, man. They ain't telling us this. That's why you got to tap in with us, man. You're going to learn some things.
Why is it that once people get clout, they always become weird? If you don't know who this guy is, his name is Dr. Disrespect, and he was one of the biggest streamers on Twitch back in 2020. But he ended up randomly getting banned, and people were curious as to why that is. Fast forward 4 years later, we know why. And it was because he was they not like us, they not like us, they not like us.
Damn.
Certified lover boy, certified pedophile, whack, 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 whack. Twitch banned him up. Yeah, so the story was, he tried to link with a minor at TwitchCon, and he was messaging her through Whispers, which is private chat on Twitch pretty much. But it's not that private because the staff clocked it and then they banned him. And they really spared bro for like 4 years straight. But once the information broke, he lost all of his sponsorships. And to make matters worse, he came out and confirmed it himself. Bro said, yeah, I messaged her, but that doesn't make me a predator. Dude, you're like 40 years old. If you talk to a minor in a freaky way, what do you expect is going to happen?
That's crazy, man. Especially with the Dr. Disrespect, man. Some more info came on yesterday. I heard, I don't know if it was rumor, it was confirmed. It was like how he might have gotten arrested or something yesterday, but they really never confirmed that. But like I said, it's crazy. When people get that type of clout level and power, they just think they can do anything and everything, man. And he did it on a Twitch Whispers on his main account. Your Dr. Disrespect. So if he knew there had to be some outcome if that would have ever leaked and got out, like it said, it seemed like Twitch, they spared him for like 4 years, because if that would have came out, the reason why he got banned, he would have been lost everything. So that's just a crazy situation. What's this?
There's only one I want. I love you, Pookie, forever.
How do you get over a breakup?
The only way to get over one is get under another. Cobwebs off the same.
Don't miss.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give it that fuck to it. Spit on that thing.
What the? Okay, so I had to check that hot tour meme because it's been blown up everywhere. This is my first time seeing this, so I heard that they even tried to like sign her to a freaking talent agency. That's freaking crazy, man. That one thing just blew up. It's everywhere. I wonder what her father and her family thinks about that. That's now, it's going viral. It's everywhere. What do you guys think about the hot tour girl, bro? If you was in her family, man, what would you say there right now? That's it, man. For this video is for you guys today. You guys can catch it in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.